All right, another training week in the book. Started off the day with 2 singles at deadlift at 250 kg or 550 pounds. As part of this, my training initially called for just 1 single, but one of the things with the AI coaching program that I'm running is before you go into your session, it asks you to rate your fatigue on a couple of different levels. For me, that's really just squat, bench, and deadlift, but depending on if you're doing power building or bodybuilding, it'll ask you different fatigue levels questions. And for me, I was feeling good on this day, so my 1 single turned into 2 singles. Now, if I wasn't feeling great and I put that into the program, it likely would have backed off the intensity, or in some cases, if they're doing more rep work or more sets, it would have backed that off as well. But since it was a single, it wasn't really the case. Or if you're hurt, it might have just taken it away altogether. Speaking of hurt, these banded squats are awful. They're so heavy and they're so hard. But I'm happy to say that I'm in the middle of my current microcycle and I will not be doing these for at least the next 2 weeks, which I'm really happy about. Moving on to the next day, benching again. So for those that aren't aware, I'm benching 4 times per week now. It's something I had a lot of success with when working with the strength athlete, and it's feeling pretty good despite the fact that that 1 single at 292 pounds didn't move the best. I'm attributing that to my elbows kind of getting off track a little bit. Speaking of other things that are going away that I'm really happy about are these pause on the halfway down squats. These things suck, and I probably should have in the beginning adjusted my fatigue levels to reflect that, but I try not to do that when possible. It's probably a little bit of me being stubborn, but these are starting to feel a lot better as my knees feel a lot better just with healing up. That being said though, I will not miss them in the short term. And then benching again, because benching 4 times per week, you're going to see a bench every single time I train since I'm only training 4 times per week. Some of the things you're also going to be seeing more are overhead presses. Now, I put this up in the last video as well, and I got a lot of comments from people saying you should look into Z presses, and I did. I will say at the time of filming this session, it was before I put up my other video, so I didn't see those comments. Although, to be truthfully honest, I'm just going to keep these seated versions just because I like the way they're going, and I'd like to be somewhat more consistent. Now, the next training day was a little bit interesting. I had an appointment and a very busy day at work, so literally the only thing I could do is work up to my top singlet squats at 235, which did not move or feel great. Looking at it now, it wasn't as bad as I thought, but it just was a little bit sloppy. I ended up having to extend my training session into the next day just due to time constraints, and that's just one of the things that's going to happen from time to time. And I'm glad I did that because the rest of the training session went very, very well. So here you just see some bench work, and I'm really trying to make sure I control the weight even on my sets with a lot of reps. From there, I moved on to some stiff-legged deadlift work, and these are not as stiff-legged as I would have thought, and that's really due to my hamstrings, but it's better than my conventional deadlift some, so I guess there's always that. After that, moved on to just some rows. I've been doing these kind of T-bar, bent over rows, whatever you want to say, just on the floor. Again, just something that works well for me. It's quick and easy to set up, and I feel it well in my back, even though my form has a little bit of that there body English. That is okay. I'm also fully repping the Noble shirts and shoes. You guys have been asking me a lot of questions on those shoes. I will get to a video on those at some point, but to be completely transparent and a quick spoiler alert in case I don't, I think they're very good cross-training shoes, but they will not replace my CrossFit Lite TRs as a good dedicated squat and deadlift shoe. So you don't have to wait for the video now necessarily. Here you see the next training day, which is just some floor presses, some incline dumbbell rows, which I really, really like. And in this case, I took your guys' advice and I moved up some on the bench. I do actually like this variation better. I have to give you guys credit, and I think the big reason is why is because I can finally use the full range of motion where the dumbbells aren't hitting the floor, where if I'm lower down on the bench, it does. So thank you for whoever called that out. I can't remember your name offhand, but I do appreciate it. Moving on to the second to last movement of the day and the week are these paused off the floor deadlifts. I could do a better job pausing more closely to the floor and also a better job positioning, and that's one of the reasons that I've been enjoying this pause work is it's really punishing me for my crappy form, so hopefully it'll cause me to fix it. So then the last exercise of the day, something you guys saw recently in my last video, reviewing this Archon bar. These are just some close grip bench presses, and I'm trying to go here more for speed and explosiveness, and I've really liked this bar for it, but I already said that in the video review. It'll probably be linked at the end card if you're interested in checking it out. But in the meantime, as always, thanks for watching, and stay big. We'll catch you next week.